So I'm here at Deliver, and this is my first interview with my old friend Cesar from KEBA. And we thought we'd do something a bit different. We're not going to talk about the exhibition, but we're going to talk about the future of parcel lockers. What is next? And I think we might have some slightly different, maybe complementary views. Cesar, where do you think things are going?
That's a very good question. If I were to know what comes in the future, probably I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in the Bahamas having a good time, yeah? But it's a very interesting question because it really depends from where you see it. So probably you have your opinion because you're coming from locker land, the land of lockers. So the market probably is thinking in a specific direction. And from our perspective, let's say the industry is thinking in a different direction. And in my case, I want to tell you my personal opinion. So something that is based in some research that we are doing. But I would say the next thing could be that the next locker is no locker. So what I mean
Okay.
is, there are a lot of systems now outside, smart cameras, artificial intelligence. So probably you will see in the future hubs that you just get out automatically, and tell you where your parcel is.
So for me to understand though, you're talking about effectively some kind of mobile locker solution, or is it still going to be like the current one that is ideally slipper distance and stationary?
So this is a very interesting topic. The mobile locker, it has been around, I think, as long as the static locker has been in discussion. So one of the, let's say, disadvantages that we see about the mobile locker is the basis of the concept of parcel locker, which is you need to meet at some point to pick up. So we don't think that the future is a mobile locker, but actually it could evolve. Instead of having a physical locker, a digital locker in a specific place, like for example stores that are dedicated for the delivery and pickup of parcels. And we have seen the first signs of this kind of evolution. For example, if you see in Austria, Austrian Post you have visit the Office of the Future. In Belgium, you have seen the B-Box boutique. So we think that this could be the next most logical evolution because location is getting scarce, and the good locations are difficult to get, especially if you need a permission outside.
So yeah, and we've seen this even in locker land where there is not the ability to put a locker in place. Quite often, particularly InPost has done this, they'll get a retail outlet that is no longer financially viable, and they'll put lockers inside that outlet. But I have to say, when we talk about the future, maybe I'm going a little bit too far, but my vision is the following. I think that first of all, lockers will continue to grow, and where you can have a dense slipper distance network, as is the case in Poland, I think Austria's got a way to go still. That will continue to be valuable. But I can imagine two things. One, what do you do with the heavy, bulky items that will not typically fit in a locker? And my crystal ball says that perhaps we will have smart locks. So it won't work everywhere, but if somebody has a garage by their home, which I do, that can become almost like a super locker. And also in buildings where you perhaps don't have garages, but you have a concierge room, but without a concierge, you can put a smart lock and camera there. So that's one thing. But the other thing, Cesar, I reckon, is as robots become cheaper and more efficient and able to do humanoid functions, I can see two things. I can first of all see a last mile vehicle, which maybe still has a human courier, but not a driver. So the vehicle would drive up to the closest, most relevant point and could then allow the courier to fill a locker or to deliver. But then this is the really big one. My friends from Nova Poczta came back from the US and they showed me some photos of the latest Android type robots. Says I was blown away. This machine, which no longer costs hundreds of thousands, still costs tens of thousands. So I think there's still development. But can you imagine, this was able to do somersaults to go up steps? And I think that's going to be the next not so quiet revolution. What do you think?
I think, first of all, home delivery will stay forever. I don't think this dream that out of home will replace the home delivery, I think it's a little bit, I wouldn't say overstated, but if you ask me as a final user, I prefer home delivery. Yeah. What I would say is there will be different ways. I agree with you that maybe in the future there will be robots. You only have to see, films like iRobot. I think this is coming that probably the simple jobs will be done by humanoids, I would say. So yes, this will be, but also out of home, in my opinion, will evolve in a similar fashion that we described. So in the nearby, there will be, I would say, hubs or specific collecting areas where maybe you can imagine now having a locker, but in the future, as you mentioned, it's only an area, a common area, public area that you have access, and when you have access, um, you can pick up your parcel. So I think somehow we are converging in this idea that there will be an area near to your home where you can come anytime, but you don't need any physical contact, but actually it will be digital in terms of accessing and verifying that you're the right person to pick up the right parcel.
So here we have it. iRobot, the future of the last mile. Cesar, as usual, pleasure talking. Day 2 of Deliver, and I'm at the unisend stand with Lina, who's head of business development, international business development.
Yes.
And maybe I'll start by saying unisend, actually, there's a brand behind it because it's quite a new brand, unisend, but it's really Lithuanian Post who's the power behind unisend. And tell me a little bit about the development, because when we look at the map, a lot has been happening.
Yes. So basically, originally we are from Lithuania, but 2 years ago we started our operations in Latvia and Estonia. So now we are Baltic brand, and we grew up very quickly in 2 years. I think we are proud of the achievements what we have done.
And if you read the Last Mile Experts 2026 out of home report, you will find that unisend has 1,500 plus parcel lockers throughout the region.
Yes.
And I think it's going to grow.
Yeah, definitely. We are planning to add 1,000 more parcel lockers this year. So teams are working on that. So we will definitely grow this year.
Lina, is there anything you can share in terms of, how things are developing? Are there any things that surprise you from the customer perspective, from the operational perspective? Anything you can share that's special, that perhaps is specific to the Baltics? Because I've got one idea, but I'll ask you first.
I think what our steps in other markets has proved is that customers really like it. I think that's specific about our market, that customers like out-of-home delivery, and it's very easy to access, always accessible. It's pretty close by to get the parcel, and they don't need to be at home. So I think we see that customers like it, and we are happy to provide these solutions.
And I have to say, spot on, I completely agree with you. I call it, I stole this phrase from bpost, slipper distance, that the machine, if it's so close, it's almost like a home delivery. It really works. And I have to say that not many people talk about the Baltics because although they're economically really strong, they're actually fairly small countries. The smallest one, which is, I think, Estonia, is pretty much the size of a medium-sized city in Poland. But a lot is happening, and I think it's really, really exciting, and it's not fair that you don't get the coverage and mention you should. So, Lina, any last thoughts you'd like to share on unisend or on the Baltic out-of-home development?
Yes, what I would like maybe to mention, as you said, these are small markets, but they are very much growing markets. And I think that everyone who wants to do the business, that are thinking about the e-commerce, they should look into those markets, because these are countries like pearls, which are growing, and they have lots of potential.
So, growing pearls in the Baltics. And I have to say, Lina, I agree with you. Something you may know or may not know, in a former life when I worked for DPD, the Baltic countries were in my region, and they were the most amazing place. We were able to make some little miracles. So wishing you some miracles for development. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.